Welcome to RLP Audiobooks channel, the channel that brings forgotten books back to life in audio format, so you can listen to whenever and wherever you desire, whether you're driving, chilling, and even sleeping. Please consider subscribing to the channel and click the notifications button so you don't miss out on any other videos. Now, relax, listen, ponder, and enjoy.
Surah 51. Az-Zariyat. Context. Period of revelation. The subject matter and the style clearly show that it was sent down in the period when persecution had not yet started. Although the Prophet's invitation was being resisted and opposed, with denial and ridicule, and false accusations stubbornly. Therefore, this surah also seems to have been revealed in the same period in which the Surah 50, Qaf, was revealed. The subject matter and topics. The surah mostly deals with the hereafter, and in the end it presents the invitation to monotheism, Tawheed. In addition, the people have also been warned that refusal to accept the message of the prophets, and persistence in the concepts and creeds of ignorance, have proved to be disastrous for those nations themselves, which have adopted this attitude and way of life in the past. The people's different and conflicting beliefs about the end of human life are themselves an express proof that none of these beliefs and creeds is based on knowledge. Everyone by himself has formed an ideology on the basis of conjecture. Someone thought that there would be no life after death. Someone believed in the life after death but in the form of the transmigration of souls. Someone believed in the life hereafter, and the meting out of the rewards and punishments, but invented different sorts of props and supports to escape retribution. About a question of such vital and fundamental importance, a wrong view of which renders a man's whole life's work wrong, and wastes and ruins his future forever, it would be a disastrous folly to build an ideology only on the basis of speculation and conjecture without knowledge. It would mean that man should remain involved in a grave misunderstanding, pass his whole life in the heedlessness of error, and after death, should suddenly meet with a situation for which he had made no preparation at all. There is only one way of forming the right opinion about such a question, and it is this: man should seriously ponder over the knowledge about the hereafter that the Prophet of God is conveying to him, from him, and should study carefully the system of the earth, and heavens, and his own existence. One should see whether the evidence of that knowledge being sound and correct is afforded by everything around him, or not. In this regard, the arrangement of the wind and rain, the structure of the earth and the creatures found on it, including man's own self, the creation of the heavens, and of everything in the world, in the form of pairs, have been presented as evidence of the hereafter, and instances have been cited from human history, to show that the temper of the empire of the universe requires that the law of retribution must operate here. In this very connection, it has also been stated that whenever the prophets of God have been opposed and resisted, they have not been opposed and resisted on the basis of any rational ground, but on the basis of the same obduracy, and stubbornness, and false pride that is being shown against the Prophet Muhammad, and there is no other motive for it than rebellion, and arrogance. Then the Prophet has been instructed not to bother about the rebels, but to go on performing his mission of invitation and admonition, for it is useful and beneficial for the believers, although it may not be so for the other people. As for the wicked people who still persist in their rebellion, they should know that their predecessors who follow the same way of life have already received their shares of the punishment, and these people's share of the punishment has been made ready for them. Surah 51. Az-Zariyat. The scattering winds. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. By those winds, scattering dust dispersing it, and those clouds carrying a load of water, and those ships sailing with ease, and those angels apportioning each matter, indeed what you are promised is true, and indeed the recompense is to occur. by the heaven containing pathways,
explained as tracks, layers, or orbits.
Indeed you are in differing speech,
About Prophet Muhammad, and the Qur'an.
deluded away from it.
The Qur'an,
Is he, who is deluded. Destroyed are the falsifiers,
or, may they be destroyed, or, cursed.
who are within a flood of confusion and heedless. They ask, when is the day of recompense? It is the day they will be tormented over the fire, and will be told, taste your torment. This is that, for which you sought to hasten. Indeed the righteous will be among gardens and springs, accepting what their Lord has given them. Indeed they were before that, of those who strove for excellence. They used to sleep but little, of the night.
Meaning, spending a portion of the night in prayer and supplication.
And in the hours before dawn they would ask forgiveness. And from their properties was given the right of the needy petitioner, and the deprived. And on the earth are signs for the certain in faith, and in yourselves. Then will you not see? And in the heaven is your provision, and whatever you are promised. Then by the Lord of the heaven and earth, indeed it is truth, just as sure as it is that you are speaking. Has there reached you the story of the honored guests of Abraham?
Who were angels, given honored positions by God.
When they entered upon him, and said, we greet you with peace. He answered, and upon you peace, you are a people unknown. Then he went to his family and came with a fat roasted calf, and placed it near them. He said, will you not eat? And he felt from them apprehension.
Traditionally, if a guest refused to eat, it meant that he harbored ill will toward the host, or intended him harm.
They said, fear not, and gave him good tidings of a learned boy. And his wife approached with a cry of alarm, and struck her face, and said, I am a barren old woman. They said, thus has said your Lord, indeed he is the wise, the knowing. Abraham said, then what is your business here, O messengers? They said, indeed we have been sent to a people of criminals.
Meaning, those who defied Lot.
To send down upon them stones of clay, marked in the presence of your Lord for the transgressors. So, we brought out whoever was in them.
The cities.
Of the believers. And we found not within them, other than a single house of Muslims.
Meaning, Lot and his family, excepting his wife.
And we left therein a sign for those who fear the painful punishment. And in Moses was a sign, when we sent him to Pharaoh, with clear authority. But he turned away with his supporters, and said, a magician or a madman. So we took him and his soldiers and cast them into the sea, and he was blameworthy. And in Ad was a sign, when we sent against them the barren wind.
Barren of any benefit, meaning evil.
It left nothing of what it came upon, but that it made it like disintegrated ruins. And in Thamud, when it was said to them, enjoy yourselves for a time. But they were insolent toward the command of their Lord, so the thunderbolt seized them while they were looking on. And they were unable to arise, nor could they defend themselves. And we destroyed the people of Noah before. Indeed they were a people defiantly disobedient. And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed we are its expander. And the earth we have spread out, and excellent is the preparer. And of all things we created, two mates.
Counterparts.
Perhaps you will remember. So flee to God.
Meaning, turn to God and take refuge in him, from disbelief and sin, thereby escaping his punishment.
Indeed I am to you from him, a clear warner. And do not make as equal with God, another deity. Indeed I am to you from him, a clear warner. Similarly, there came not to those before them any messenger, except that they said, a magician or a madman. Did they suggest it to them?
Meaning, did the former disbelievers pass on these words to the Meccans, so that they repeat the same expressions?
Rather, they themselves are a transgressing people. So leave them, O Muhammad, for you are not to be blamed. And remind, for indeed the reminder benefits the believers. And I did not create the jinn and mankind, except to worship me. I do not want from them any provision, nor do I want them to feed me. Indeed, it is God who is the continual provider, the firm possessor of strength. And indeed for those who have wronged is a portion of punishment, like the portion of their companions,
predecessors.
So let them not ask me to hasten. And woe to those who have disbelieved from their day which they are promised.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed listening to this book, please give it a like, and consider subscribing to the channel, and click the notifications button, so you don't miss out on any other videos.